Hello, Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. I'm your host, Sean Taylor, the 2021 edition of Tide Talk. So happy New Year to everyone. Maurice, happy New Year to you, buddy.
Happy New Year.
We've got a new guy on the show.
Hey, I'm back.
Listen, we need to introduce Jimmy. Jimmy's back with us, Tide fans. So we're glad to have Jimmy back. He's feeling a little bit better.
Thank you,
Am I
Tide
being
fans.
replaced?
And look,
Am I being replaced?
No. You remember Jimmy from
Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Well,
that
let me just
guy.
say this for real. I am so glad to be back, Tide fans. And look, if y'all had me on your prayer list, I appreciate that. My wife and I both do.
Yep.
Thankfully, we just had a mild case of this crazy virus that's going around, but we're both back healthy, better than ever, and I am certainly glad to be back.
Good. No, we're glad to have you back, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Good to have a different perspective.
Yep.
You know, I
And
think
probably a better one, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
that's questionable, huh?
I can see it went to his brain, too.
So, hey, anyway, guys, Happy New Year to you. Got a lot to talk about on this show in a little bit of time. Hopefully we can convince them to give us a little extra time. But, guys, coming off a great win against Notre Dame, which Maurice, and no offense, Jimmy, but you weren't here, Maurice, we kind of anticipated that.
Yeah, it's like I've been saying to other people, and it's no disrespect, and somebody, I think, posted on Facebook that said Notre Dame will be able to score on you. And I'm like, well, how are they going to do that? I couldn't tell you the starting running back's name, and I darn sure couldn't tell you one of the wide receivers' name. I couldn't tell you that since Golden Tate played there, and that was 10 or 12 years ago. They only had the tight end, so I was like, how are they going to, I'm not being ugly, but I was like, how are they going to score? And it was just luck here and there as far as they caught us in wrong defenses here and there. And Ian Book is a heck of an athlete.
And I think, one of the things we mentioned, Maurice, before the game, obviously, there was a concern. Nick Saban had a little bit of concern about the tight end matchup. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't recall the tight end doing a whole lot.
He caught a couple of balls.
A couple of balls, but nothing major.
No, but they created great mismatches, as one of our relatives said in text repeatedly, as far as matching up.
I don't know.
Matching up with our linebackers, whether it be the tight end or back out of the backfield. And that is kind of a mismatch. It's just hard to keep up with them. But that was about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Jimmy,
Yeah, I thought we did a good job of tackling those backs out of the backfield. They ran several little plays right or left, and I thought Moses did a great job getting out there and making those tackles. Now, I think we did, like I say, have some misses on covering the tight end on 2 or 3 different plays, but overall, I thought we did a great job on that side of the ball. But was I the only one that thought the game was over at the end of the first quarter after we stopped them a couple of times and we just went down just easy and scored 2 quick touchdowns on some long drives? I mean, I thought the game was over at that point.
Yeah, I felt like it was pretty much however we wanted it to play out, just to be honest. I felt like, we stopped them a couple of times early. We scored the first 3 times we touched the ball. But I really felt like, we pretty much controlled the game, on both sides of the ball, to be honest. The only thing that really concerned me, Maurice, was the one long, they had a 15-play, 80-yard drive for a score. And a couple of times, we have them in third down situations and we just couldn't get off the field for whatever reason early on, but we fixed that later.
well, they went back and watched part of it yesterday or today, rather. And in that series, we blitzed 3 times, and 2 of those they made plays on. The other time, I believe it was Christian Harris put pressure on Book and he had to throw it away. And that's why I texted y'all during the game saying, we really don't need to blitz on this team. It's not needed.
I agreed with that.
Just back up and play. Outside of that, I didn't like the goal line formation. I don't know why you don't have
You mentioned in the game, why do we not have someone over the center?
Yeah.
You
had Dylan Moses that was walking up, and when Moses is taking on Notre Dame has a very
330-pound lineman.
And I don't care how good he is.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not going to win
Agreed.
that fight. And
Agreed.
Ian Book, like I said, he's got the leg strength and he got it done. So
Yeah, that was kind of a weird formation we ran when we walked him up there, like you said.
Yeah, knowing that listen, they showed in that drive that they were going to run the football and they were going to, try to establish, number one, control the clock. They wanted to keep our offense off the field, and they did that for that series. But down there, I agree. I was just really surprised that we didn't have, a Barmore or a DJ Dale over, in that zero technique.
exactly.
And
I'd have had every fat boy on our team
Yeah.
that could play to
yeah,
get
play
in
the whole.
there.
That's right.
And I wouldn't have. That's just me. I don't know why he did that. I guess he's expecting Book maybe to do a little bootleg.
Roll out or something, which they scored on the second time.
Yeah.
They scored on that the second time.
Again, who was it? I can't remember if it was Anderson or who, but they gave up their outside shoulder.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're toast. I don't care who the cornerback is. It's going to be a heck of a tackle to come up there and make a one-on-one tackle.
Overall, guys, just your kind of 2 minute, your 2 minute overview from an offensive and defensive perspective. Just kind of give me your take on just the whole game. I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about that, but Jimmy, your perspective, and I've got a perspective too. I want to talk about and see if anybody else was interested. But
Yeah.
but
I mean, again, man, I thought we did what we needed to do. Like I said, I thought at the end of the first quarter the game was over. It was at that point we had already established the fact that they were not going to beat us, in my opinion. Offensively, again, man, we've been saying it all year. I mean, what else can we say? Mac Jones was phenomenal. Smitty, and I'm not sure which catch was greater, the one that he jumped about 10 feet in the air and caught across the middle, or the one he caught at the pile line in the
Man,
end
that
zone.
was-
I mean, they both were phenomenal catches.
throw and catch.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The throw was even probably more impressive. So offensively, man, like again, they didn't really stop us. I know we punted the ball a couple of times. I think that was just us kind of dialing it back a little bit. We talked about that some. So again, I thought we did what we needed to do on offense, and defensively, like we talked about. We did what we had to do. We matched up like we were supposed to. We really tackled really well, I thought, overall.
For the most part.
So, really, because we made a lot of open field tackles. I mean, I'm not saying we made every tackle on every play, but I thought we did a really good job of tackling. So, yeah, man, I a little upset that they scored that last touchdown, and of course they broke that 35-point streak. You can ask my family. I was mad the entire second half, going, we're not going to score 35 because we're not wanting to score 35, and man, they're going to go down and get this garbage touchdown. We're not going to cover. I was more upset about that than anything else about the game. But overall, I thought we did what we were supposed to do.
Well, I think the new guy is very chatty. I really didn't expect him to say that much. No, but I have a different perspective, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, I was just going to point out something that I really thought we struggled with all year, and not that we'd seen a lot of it, and that was the few times that we did punt, I thought we flipped the field and did a pretty good job putting them in, great down and distance from a field position perspective. I mean, we ain't been very good punting all year when we did punt. Now, again, I'm saying we didn't punt a lot.
Dude, I didn't know we had a punter.
We right. J.K. Scott's brother, by the way.
Right.
We didn't punt a lot, but I thought that was, I thought that was a pretty good job. We were forcing them to go the distance, and listen, the way their offense was playing, which was try to run, I thought that played into our advantage. That's kind of my take. Now, yes, I agree. Offensively, we could have done what we want to do. Defensively, I'd have liked to seen us do a few things a little bit better. I'd like to see us stop the run a little bit easier.
Right.
But as we talked about in text throughout the game, it's just not a day and age where you're going to have those defenses like we had back in 2012 and 2000. We're just not going to just absolutely shut people down and So again, overall, that's kind of my take. Now, Maurice,
hey,
we're going to take a quick break,
thing.
and then we're going to come back to you and your perspective.
Darn straight we are.
That's exactly right. So, guys, on behalf of Bob English and State Farm, hold your seats. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Bob.
What's up, Bob?
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way, we're here to help life go right.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. So Jimmy, oh no, that's right. My bad, Maurice.
I don't know why. I could stay home and insult
Are you
myself.
even here?
Maurice. So your take.
Sean.
Give me your 2-minute drill.
I'm a deep thinker.
That's right.
I'm very deep. Two things. One, I think it was either David Pollock or Todd McShay said what I've been thinking. They, being Notre Dame, hasn't recruited speed like Alabama and some of the other top schools, especially in the SEC. So I knew it wasn't going to be close. So I don't think that this, even though, again, hate to sound arrogant, any of the other two teams that would have played Notre Dame would have done the same thing. They're okay. They just don't have the speed, so I knew it wasn't going to be close. But I thought it was as predicted. I was like Jimmy. I was never ever concerned about this. But the thing that made me think was you have 4 teams, 3 of them are worthy that could give each other a game. So it's it's begging to be stretched to 8 or maybe even 12, and you have play-in games, so to speak. It was just, I'm not going to say boring, because it sounds like I'm being arrogant about Alabama. But the only contest was, do we cover? And we gave up a late touchdown to where we didn't. And that was the drama of the game. That was it. And I felt like we could have maybe kept scoring if we wanted to. I think we kind of took the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
So
I think it's obvious. I think everyone knows that we kind of took our foot off the gas. I think Brian Kelly, he obviously is a good coach. I think he's in a predicament because if you go back to what he said after playing us in the 2012 National Championship game, what was he saying? We got to be more physical.
they're physical.
So he goes out there and he gets.
But he's recruiting, and I know, this isn't the Notre Dame show, I know what you're going to say. But he's recruiting like Saban did 8 or 10 years ago. Big, strong guys,
Right.
but
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
That's where I was going. Think about when Mount Cody and the big Australian.
Going way back.
The big
Jesse
Australian.
Williams.
We had the meat up front and we were going to stop the run, period.
Right.
We were going to be physical. We were going to run the football. Go back to the SEC championship game against Georgia, where we just said, if you can stop us running, back when Mosley was the linebacker, knocked the ball down. Yeah, listen, man.
Deron Payne, those guys.
That's the style. Now we've got a little bit of both. We've got some meat up front, but we've got some meat up front that can move. We got some guys off the edge that are big guys, but they can move. They can cover in space. We got linebackers that can play in space. We're really fast offensively. Billingsley, the tight end, is a wide receiver. I mean, he's 6'4".
That guy is, any coach would love to have.
Hey, man, quit talking about Pitts from Florida and let's talk about Billingsley.
As soon as which will be next year, as soon as he's going to become the focal point.
He'll get more opportunities. That's exactly right.
But did you see, talking about, Kelly trying to recruit like what we were doing, in 2012. But did you hear the stat? I think it was McShay before the game, and they were talking about that very thing. And he said that across the line of scrimmage, our offensive line outweighed their defensive line across the board by like 30 pounds per player. So, I mean, he's not doing a great job of beefing up that line.
Yeah, but their offensive line, Notre Dame's, I think their average weight was around
their offensive line was different.
It was comparable.
Yes.
Our offensive line, they were comparable.
But I go back to what Coach O said a couple of years ago, it may even been when he was at Ole Miss, but it's probably a lot sooner than that. But somebody asked him, what's the difference between the SEC and other conferences when they match up? He said, week in, week out, it's defensive line. You can't find every team in a conference who has defensive linemen this big that can run. And that's, I think, it's not that we have a monopoly, but we have a surplus, and it's a good surplus to have. So.
So, guys, let's talk about some individuals real quick. What's your thoughts? I mean, Mac Jones' performance. I mean, we've been saying all year long, other than Maurice, we've been saying all year long that the Joker was a Heisman Trophy candidate from day one. And, man, his performance in that game, although it wasn't astounding numbers, the accuracy, the ball placement, his numbers were really good. 25 of 30, 290 yards, I believe.
I was going to say 300 yards, close to 300 yards,
three
touchdowns, no interceptions, 80-something% completion percentage. I think
Who else holds their breath whenever he passes the line of scrimmage?
Dude, what about that little jump slide that almost broke his leg or
God,
ankle?
Listen,
I
got a rug burn just watching.
I just saw it when he's running. I'm thinking he's going to tear an ACL right
twist
before
his ankle or something.
the national championship game trying to slide.
But speaking of Mac, of course, I tweeted y'all or texted y'all the award
Johnny
he won
Unitas.
today, the Unitas Award. I mean, they just keep adding up for him and all
But
the guys on that side.
here's
of
the
ball.
thing, and I really don't recall saying anything disparaging about Mac Jones.
Hey, can we roll the first show?
Yeah, the very first show.
No, the one thing I absolutely do love, and I saw it the other night, and he is so good at it, and it's a lost art, is scrambling behind the line. And it's nothing big. Step up, step over, boom. It's beautiful. Quarterbacks go through that drill, but none of them do it, especially those dual threats, which I can't stand, because the first thing they want to do is, I'm out of the pocket, I'm going. No, this guy, he does what Bradshaw, Tarkenton, a lot of them, Elway, keep the play alive, the pass play, move and shift. You're fine. You have a great offensive line protecting you, and that's what a lot of times.
Step up in that little hole right there that you see.
Yeah.
You still
Man,
gonna be
how many
protected.
times did y'all see him in this game specifically? But yes, all year long. But to your point, he steps up, and it looks like, and what most other quarterbacks are going to take off for maybe 7 or 8 yards, he steps up 2 or 3 steps, dumps it to Najee or dumps it to Forrestal, and they get 12, 13 yards.
Right.
Hey, speaking of offensive line, did you see that other?
Did.
Yeah.
Got ready
I was surprised at that. I really thought that they would
Give it to
somewhat-
Notre Dame.
Yep.
I did too because they felt sorry. I thought that they would feel sorry for him. And
Alabama's
give it to Notre
won
Dame.
enough. Let's give it to
let's
somebody
give
else.
it to somebody else.
So,
But speaking of Mac, though, how about the one play where, Notre Dame brought the house, and looked like there was 2 or 3 guys just running free, and he did a little
Spin
roll
out.
out or spin
Little spin
out, a
out.
little loop-de-loo, and got outside the pocket and dumped it for, I don't know, I think he got a first down out of the play. So, yeah, he's not the most athletic, but like you said, man, he knows what he's doing when he's back there.
The couple of
It's
times that he
amazing.
had to run, it was because he had to run.
I would still rather see him just throw it away. He just it's awkward when he runs. I know he's a big kid, but
Joker
then
6'5",
again,
220.
then again, here's the other thing. If if you're sitting there thinking, well, he should run. Well, if he gets hurt,
Right.
okay, I'm
I don't
done.
mind the run for a positive play, but let's work on the slide.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And look, he's a competitor. I mean, he's a competitor. He's wanting to either get the first down or pick up positive yards, as you said, instead of taking a sack. If you notice the one time, as you mentioned, they brought everybody, and he's dropping back, and there's nothing, and he just throws it at Najee's feet. You know what? A lot of folks are going, what are they doing? I'm thinking, smart play.
Exactly.
You don't take a 10-yard sack. You get the ball back at the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2nd and 10, but so what? You don't take a loss. And I
Right.
think he does a really good job of not taking losses. Not that he's always perfect, but our offensive line does a phenomenal job of protecting him. I mean, they talked Pollock and all those guys talked the whole time about how clean he is.
Yes.
He's clean.
Which I've said. I mean, I would like to see a stat as far as least touched quarterback because he hasn't been touched.
Well,
a
he
lot.
was sacked. I saw when I saw where he won the award. I looked at some of the things that they listed, but he was sacked. I mean, I'm talking. Excuse me. When the offensive line won their award, I think they said that they gave up 9 sacks this year total, and those wasn't all against Mac that I know
Right.
of.
Some of those were
2 or 3
were
of those,
Bryce
I think.
Young late.
You know, so
figure.
to your point, yes, he doesn't get sacked
What?
because
Yeah.
the offensive line is there, and but he just knows how to get rid of the ball for the most part.
But that brings me, when we come back from this break, I want to talk about the stat. If you ask you guys if you saw the stat about Barmore, the quarterback hurries stat.
No.
If y'all didn't see that. But we're going to take a quick break. On behalf of Bob English and State Farm, Tide fans will be right back with Tide Talk.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
All right,
Welcome
back,
back,
Tide fans.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought the cue card said me. My bad.
Go ahead, Maurice. Take it away.
Welcome back, Tide fans, to another episode of Tide Talk with Sean.
Segment.
Tide Talk with Sean.
Tide Talk
So-
with Sean.
We're talking during the break,
About Barmore.
we're talking, which is an interesting stat. So since he's a stat man, let him.
Let me pull that back up real quick. So
Are
I
you going to be able to see it? You want me to
What? You just told us. You got to look it up.
Yes, yeah, I just want to make sure I get the number right. So
18.4.
18.4% of pass rush snaps, he was putting pressure on Ian Book, which was tops in the playoffs.
Right. And again, as you mentioned, man, for an interior lineman, that's pretty.
The last time I saw somebody that was maybe Jonathan Allen, but the first thing I think of is Ndamukong Suh, not that Barrymore is that good. But to do that from that position,
Quentin Williams.
18.4% of the pass plays.
That's right. It's pretty strong.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, in the break, you were talking about the stat with Smitty and with Najee, the first time in history,
Yes.
a team with a receiver with 20 receiving touchdowns and a running back with 20 rushing touchdowns.
That's correct.
I mean, man, as we've said, we've been talking for the past several weeks, the accolades just continue to pour in. Sarkeesian, man, that's another conversation. Yeah, Sarkeesian, the Broyles Award
Son
winner.
of a-
Our offensive line, Mac Jones, Smitty.
Getting a Player of the Year award.
The AP Player of the Year and the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
First
SEC
time the AP went to a non-quarterback.
Yeah.
SEC Defensive Player of the Year,
Patrick
which was
Surtain.
kind of surprising to me that he won it. Not that he's not necessarily deserving, but
I was talking to a buddy of mine today, a guy that I work with. I've mentioned him several times on the show.
Keith?
Yep, very good. Keith Jones. Got a ton of knowledge, Bama guy. And we were talking about that exact thing, the award that Patrick sent. But man, when you think about it, what'd Brian Kelly say?
Yeah.
We ain't going at,
We
we ain't throwing it at him.
And as McShay and who's the other color, was it Blackledge said, he is by far the best technique corner. McShay, which, take it for what it's worth, said he's the best he's ever graded at that as far as technique goes, which is high praise.
I mean, the guy's 6'2", 190. And obviously, as my buddy mentioned today, he has the pedigree. His dad was an NFL, DB. So he has the pedigree. But man, yeah, he's that. I called him today a quiet assassin. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't hear his name a lot,
right.
But in that area, that's a good thing because he's locking people down. And
and he was another one of those that I mentioned about the open field tackling. He made several open field tackles.
Yeah, I
Made it
mean,
look easy too. So.
When he has an opportunity, he's pretty good at making plays. Now, he don't get a lot of opportunities because they don't throw his way, but when he does, he does a really good job.
Well, I got a question which can segue into our next conversation. Why is the new guy wearing Ohio State colors? And do you wash that in hot water or warm or cold?
Well,
Because
it's dye sublimated, so you can wash it in any you want.
Sublimation, the new thing.
that
And
is,
that is
well, I got to write that
crimson
word.
A, I thought.
Is that with a C or
gray.
an S? Okay. We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk. Anyway.
But so we're talking about just the offense or accolades. Smitty, Najee Harris, guys. Najee Harris has been doing this hurdling, for years. Saban trying to get him away from it, but he actually referenced.
I was wondering why. Did you see him on the sideline? What was he? He wasn't getting on to him.
I mean, yeah.
But
He's like, hey, man, I don't need you hurt, probably.
well, if the safety didn't have an angle on him, that would have been probably the play of the year
There's no
because
doubt.
that was the only one that was going to
Did
catch
you
him.
see that they actually, they do that height measuring, like when Smitty made that catch in the back of the end zone against LSU, they said Najee jumped about 7 feet in the air.
I mean,
He was
hurdled,
roughly 7 feet.
he hurdled essentially a guy standing straight up.
Because
I mean, he had a little bit of lean, but he essentially was standing straight up.
yeah.
And he didn't
Really
lose
impressive.
his momentum, essentially.
For a guy that's 6'3", 225.
And he
think
kept
it's
going
impressive
after
for
the
him.
fact and didn't
Yeah.
stumble and fall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really,
it's
really good
cra-
play.
It's crazy.
So let's go on to the national championship game. Jimmy, we were texting before the game, and we were like, "Who do we want to play? Who do we want to play?" And we were like, "Man,
Man, I'd
I
rather play
don't,
Clemson."
I don't know if I want to play Clemson.
Right.
We've played them all these other years, and and then as the game's playing, we both at about the same time. I don't know. Maybe we want to play Clemson.
Can I change my mind on who we want to play?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, man, if you watch that game, that was, in my opinion, the epitome of playing with a chip on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. That was what it looked like. From kickoff to buzzer, it looked like they were playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I guarantee you Dabo learns a lesson from that.
But now, I mean, I agree. But Clemson went up 14-0, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then Ohio State just took over.
Yeah, I think that they had motivation, and I'm anticipating that they may be a little drained.
Beat up a little bit.
I don't know.
It was a very physical game.
It was very physical, and it's just that when you put all your eggs in one basket, then the next week you got to do it again.
We've talked about it over and over again. That letdown, you
I
rise
can't-
to that one game.
I was just up for this. Yeah, I want to beat them real bad, but they didn't say anything about me. Or,
Right.
yeah, I got the motivation to win a national championship, but how about that game last week? You
Yeah.
know, and then we have a motivation that's still bleeding from last year. I
We got
you can
Or 2
you
years
can-
ago, for that matter.
You can tell that the players in their comments, we ain't done yet.
Right.
So I love that.
Did y'all happen to see the little video that one of the players was doing, the celebration afterwards and the award ceremony and that sort of thing? And there's one of the players, I think it was a Twitter feed or whatever, he was videoing, and that's all you heard, Maurice, 60 more minutes.
Yeah.
60, and during the celebration now, they kept talking about, here comes more confetti. They're walking around with different players, and he's, filming, and he's like, 60 more minutes. We're not done yet. 60 more minutes.
I don't know if you've continued watching afterward. Devontae, when they handed him the trophy, he said, we're not done. We got more business. That's what you love.
Yeah, it makes you feel good about.
their attitude has been like that all year long. I mean, really has. And I love that, and I think we will definitely be ready. But like we were saying, I mean, the matchup's going to be a little bit different than we probably thought with Ohio State. I mean, obviously, if they show up and play like they did this past week, which, again, it's hard to do that back-to-back weeks, but if they play like that this week or this coming up, it's going to be a good one.
I will say this. Beginning of the year, I had Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, 1, 2, 3, and I thought that was the only teams that really mattered. I thought Georgia may slide in there, but they didn't find a quarterback till late. But Justin Fields, to me, for the season, I'm sorry.
7-game season.
I'm sorry, 5 or 6, whatever it was. He did not look good against Indiana and Northwestern. I was like, you got to come back. I mean, you've gone from the second pick down to at least 10, 12. You've lost something. And he had 6 interceptions in those 2 big games. The game the other night, outside of getting drilled in the ribs, it was just a perfect game.
Perfect,
I thought he played exceptionally well. And, I don't think it'll happen, but it could cause conversation about, should it be Trevor or should it be Justin that's taken first? He played that good.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I thought they played a near perfect football game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they played a near perfect football game.
Is this a sermon?
No, this is not a sermon.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yes, that's correct. Listen, think about that guy's past 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, he's something that we've got to pay attention to. I mean, we have to be able to stop the run, which we can all say that we've had a little.
That sermon, though, man, he is, I don't know where he's been all year, but those cuts that night were, I was like, how's he doing that?
Listen, the cuts in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's
The
a
Joker
big
went
old-
for
he's a big old
331
boy,
yards.
too. He's a big old boy, and their backup was a big old boy.
Yeah, 6'2", 230, I believe.
I don't know,
The
he looked-
backup
he
is
looked
a
bigger than
freshman,
that.
too. So, I mean,
But
The backup's a bowling ball.
yeah,
I mean,
but he can wheel.
he moves well.
But that right there will absolutely be the matchup that we're going to be looking
And that's-
for.
that's
How-
what-
How do we stop their running game?
Well, one thing is the most important thing we're going to have to do is you're going to have Anderson and whoever else is going to be taking the outside. Don't give it up. You got to contain. You cannot dip in for a second and give him the outside shoulder, because that guy, he will bounce it out in a heartbeat, and when he does, it's good for 7 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be challenging. I think that
7 yards.
I think that from a matchup perspective, I was telling y'all, before the show, if you look at the statistics, we lead in about every category other than rushing defense. And again, apples to apples, I don't know. We've played 12 games all SEC, other than the playoff game. They've played 7 games, all Big Ten except for the playoff game.
Advantage Ohio State.
Yeah,
In that, because they're not beat up at all.
but some things that they're 110th in the nation passing defense. Sarkisian's got, obviously got to have a plan for that.
Right.
Now, the thing that I saw the other night from them, which is going to be a challenge for our offensive line, because our offensive line's, considered the best in the country, is the pressure that they got on Trevor Lawrence.
I don't know where it's been all year, but they showed up the other night. That was Ohio State, what Ohio State's been for the past 4 or 5 years.
So, man, I'm really looking forward to the football game. I think, as you said, if they play like they did against Clemson, man, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be the one to watch.
If you said that they were 110th passing, total offense, they're 41st, which says that their rushing defense must be pretty good. So
9th. Their rushing defense is 9th in the country.
Challenge to Najee and the offensive line right
No
now.
doubt. And so when I said 110th nationally, their passing defense is 110th nationally.
Yeah,
I think we are first, second, or third with respect to.
I think we're 4th nationally in respect to passing per game.
Yeah. So, man, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see if our guys bring that attitude to the table.
Right.
Some of these guys don't, 2015, we got our butts handed to us by Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, Ezekiel
and-
Elliott. But we only lost by 7.
7, yeah.
It felt a whole lot worse.
It did. I was there, and it felt like it was worse.
Right.
The points didn't show that, but it felt like it was worse. So, before we go, predictions. We're favored by 8.
Touchdown.
So it's a 7 now. It started out as 8. We're favored by 7. Maurice,
When do I got to go first?
because you're just
It's
Maurice
the,
Booth.
it's the hair. Actually, I see a close game in this one. Bama wins, but I'm thinking something 35-31.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we're going to be in a dogfight, personally. I think we'll win, of course. And I'm like you. I can maybe see us scoring 41, 42.
Yeah, I think it'll be
40,
in the
maybe 40.
I thought you would say 36.
41 to 32 or 35. Something. I mean, I don't. So, but it'll be.
I think we'll be
dogfight.
frustrated defensively, and our phone will be blowing up.
So, for Sheriff Taylor, 48-45, we win with a field goal.
With the All-American kicker?
With the All-American kicker.
All-American kicker.
Joker's 13 for 13, hadn't missed on an extra point, up for the Lou Groza Award. I think it's 48-45. I think it'll be a scoring battle. I think it's going to be who can get that one stop and who turns it over the least. And I believe Najee Harris and the offensive line is going to have a good night. And again, 48-45, we win with a field goal. So, We'll come back and talk about it afterwards. So, guys, join us again after the 11th, the national championship game. Will be right here on channel 207, or you can catch us on YouTube. But we look forward to coming back and talking about hopefully a number 18 national championship. All right. So, guys, we'll see you next time. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.